Hi. This is what is poverty. What do we mean when we say people are living in poverty? They are poor. What does that mean, poverty or poor? Poverty is the situation. Poverty is the situation in which a person lacks the income or the resources needed to achieve a minimum standard of living. What does that mean? The minimum standard of living, I need to eat nutritional food, not to be sick, ill, malnutrition. I need to have a healthy place to live in, a house with good ventilation, sun, and so on. I need to have good an access to health service, an access to transportation means, and an access to education. If I cannot achieve these things, then I'm living in poverty. Okay, is there a universal standard to for poverty? No. Each country has its own poverty standard or measure, which is called poverty threshold or poverty line. The poverty threshold or the poverty line is the minimum income a person needs to achieve this minimum standard of living. Although there is no universal value, however, the United Nations sets a certain value. For example, in Egypt, the poverty threshold is 8,827 Egyptian pounds per year per person. If we divide them by 365 days, we will find that it's almost 25 pounds a day per person, which means 750 pounds a month per person. The United Nations value is 1.9 American dollars, US dollars, which is almost $2. If we multiply them by the exchange rate in Egypt, which is almost 16, it's going to be 32 Egyptian pounds per day per person. Now, how do they calculate the poverty threshold or the poverty line? They start with nutritional food needed per day for one person. Then they multiply this value by 3. Why? Because they assumption that food represents 1/3 of a person's expenses. Then they multiply the result by the average multiply result by average size of family. Assuming they are 4 members, assuming the average size assumption 4 members. Then they multiply by 4. So if the United Nations sets the daily value per person to 1.9, let's assume it is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So a family of 4 needs a minimum of $24 a day to maintain or to achieve a minimum standard of living. Does this happen? No, not everyone gets this value. Anyone living under this value, then they are living in poverty. So what is the poverty rate? The poverty rate equals number of people living under the poverty line or threshold over total population of a certain country. So now when I say that the poverty rate in Egypt is 32%, it means that every 100 people, there are 32 people living under the poverty threshold. The Egyptian poverty threshold, which is the 25 pounds a day. But according to the international standards, they are going to be more than 32. Because we said the international poverty threshold is 32 pounds per person per day. So they are going to be more than 32%. This is what poverty is. Thank you.